Sad news out of Major League Baseball. Hall of Famer Rickey Henderson has died at the age of 65. The 10-time All-Star, known as the Man of Steel, played 25 seasons in the majors, with the majority of that time spent playing for his hometown Oakland A's, and remains the all-time leader in stolen bases and runs scored. On May 1st, 1991, Rickey passed Lou Brock for the most stolen bases in MLB history with number 939. Henderson finished as the all-time leader with 1,406. He was the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Rickey won 2 World Series championships during his quarter-century-long career, one with the Athletics and the other with the Blue Jays. Henderson was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009, receiving nearly 95% of the vote in his first year on the ballot. And we welcome in CBS Sports MLB insider Jim Bowden. Jim, tough news here with the passing of Rickey Henderson. He was one of the all-time greats. Both his personality, his talent was electric. He was an icon. What will you remember the most about Rickey Henderson?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned it in the open, which is the greatest leadoff hitter that ever lived, ever. I mean, he is the model of what GMs look for in a leadoff hitter. And look, we all know that he's known for his speed because he is a stolen base king with 1,406. We get that. And the blend of power and speed was special. 297 homers to go with those 1,406 steals. But the best part of Rickey's game wasn't that. It was his ability to get on base. That's what Rickey Henderson's game was all about. And in fact, he was a career .401 on base percentage player. He knew how to grind at bats. He knew how to spit at balls out of the strike zone. His plate discipline on a scale of 20 to 80, 80 being the best, wasn't 80. I mean, he set the model of how to do it. We watched him win the MVP in 1990. We watched him win Silver Sluggers. We watched him in 9 All-Star games. I mean, an absolute superstar. How about a career WAR, Hakeem, of 111.1? I didn't make that up. Incredible. But what we look for in Hall of Fame superstar players is, what do you do on the biggest stage in the biggest moments when it matters the most? And that's when Rickey Henderson performed. And in fact, in the 3 World Series that he was in, he batted .339 with an on-base percentage of .448 and a slug of .607. Those numbers are incredible. And the personality, yeah, always talking in the third person, right? But he's the one that made sunglasses famous in baseball. He was the first one to wear those gargoyles, those big gold ones, and the chains all around his neck that we all loved. But as a talent, the greatest that ever lived when it comes to leadoff hitters and stealing bases.
I will remember him fondly. I remember getting his neon green batting gloves for Christmas as a kid. I wanted to be like Rickey Henderson. A lot of kids want to be like Michael Jordan. I wanted to be like Rickey Henderson. I didn't have the speed of Rickey Henderson, but I felt like when I had those green batting gloves, I could steal second base. And you're right, he loved to talk in the third person. His speech, if you've never heard it for the viewers that are watching, after passing Lou Brock to become the all-time stolen base leader, it was epic. At the end of it, he said, Lou Brock was the symbol of great base stealing, but today, I'm the greatest of all time. He holds the third base up in the air. He says, thank you. Incredible stuff in a career and a man that was just so electric. Jim, when you think about Rickey, what's a story that will stick with you about Rickey Henderson?
Yeah, as a former GM, you know I'm going to go to contracts, right? Because that's what I did most of my life. And so I think one of the greatest Rickey Henderson stories was when he signed with the Oakland A's, he got $1 million signing bonus. And he was so excited about it that he took the bonus, he went to the framing store and had it framed and hung in his house. And about a year later, the Oakland A's accounting department noticed he never cashed the check. So the owner called Rickey at home and said, Rickey, you never cashed the $1 million check. Why not? He said, because I wanted the world to know that I'm a millionaire. And the owner said, look, Rickey, you can go cash the check. And when it clears, the bank will let you have the check that you can frame. He said, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I'll do that. Well, and that's not the only Rickey Henderson contract story. Several years later, as a member of the New York Yankees, he had an incentive bonus in his contract of about $200,000. And once again, it wasn't cashed. And so Brian Cashman, the GM, calls up Rickey Henderson and said, Rickey, your $200,000 check, you never cashed it. Why? And he said, because I was waiting for the money markets to go up. What? And then, by the way, I was on the field with him once, and I wanted to get from him, who is the greatest hitter, Rickey, you ever saw? Figuring that he was going to say Rickey, right? But instead, he looked at me, and he looked puzzled, and he looked back at me, and he said, the guy that was wearing the batting helmet. he wasn't being funny. He was picturing some guy. He couldn't communicate who, but he remembered the guy had a batting helmet. And I'll finish this Rickey story because it's the last Rickey Henderson story that I know. And it came this year when the final game was played at Oakland Coliseum. The Oakland A's last game as an Oakland Athletic. The game was over. The media went to Rickey Henderson. They asked Rickey Henderson, are you sad? Are you sad about this being the last game ever in Oakland? And he looked at the media with a big smile and he said, how can I be sad when I have millions of dollars in the bank?
Yeah, he told it like it was.
Rickey Henderson.
He told it like it was. I mean, that's why he was so beloved. And Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like his talent was timeless, meaning that he could have played at any point in Major League Baseball history, at any generation. And even at this current pace of baseball with the pickoff rule, I feel like he would be stealing bags left and right.
Oh, yeah, you could double what he was doing. I mean, his single season record still holds. His career numbers still hold. Imagine what he would do today. I mean, and the power played as well. I mean, we're all living in the Ohtani era, and we lived with Ronald Acuna Jr. the year before, but Rickey Henderson was doing things well beyond that. And in today's rules, he would dominate. And baseball-wise, Keem, when you look at him, he only had one tool below average. That was his throwing arm, which is why he played left field. But a plus hitter, plus power, plus speed, plus swag, had the full package. Great range in the outfield, and biggest moments, biggest times, it was Rickey time.
Rickey Henderson, an icon in baseball history, dead at the age of 65. Jim Bowden sharing some of the memories of Rickey Henderson's amazing life as a baseball player. Jim, thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Akeem.
Hall of Famer Rickey Henderson, baseball's greatest leadoff hitter and all-time stolen base king, dead at the age of 65. CBS Sports HQ continues after the break.